Everybody, welcome back to Lois Comics Collectibles. I'm Aaron as always, and this week we're going to be taking a look at Darth Vader from the Power of the Force 2 series. And I believe this one's the same as the red card. And this is the thing that I believe I've covered in other videos, but I feel like hitting it again. The very first series of these figures had the red lightsaber, and as you get into it, there's a lot of variations, like on the collection numbers don't always match up, and there's a lot of stuff. So if you were like a completist in-box collector, this toy line would just be maddening. So thankfully, I'm not that, so I don't really have that problem. Anyway, let's get the greatest of the Sith Lords out of his package. And so there you go. You got your Darth Vader. Your Darth Vader with lightsaber, and he just decided to jump out of the plastic. What I was about to say is, I know another variant is the length of the lightsaber blade. Some of the first runs, and y'all have to excuse the doggo in the background, had longer lightsabers, and then they shortened the lightsabers, and the package still had the bubbles for long lightsabers. And this one is I believe, shorter lightsaber with appropriate bubbles. So that sort of adds on to all that extra I was talking about. That if you were a mint in box collector, this series, depending on, or not mint in box, but a completionist, this series, well, you'd end up with like, that's potentially four of that Darth Vader, because it would probably be red card, green card, and then the lightsaber variants. And if more than that, if there's those lightsaber variants across both packages, could you imagine? It would be insane. Anyway, guys, I'd pick him back up like normal, but he jumped out. Let's get him to the figure cam and check it out. Alright, guys, we got Darth Vader down here on the figure table. Really good detail in this figure. You can kind of see the detailing in the helmet, the ridge there, the face bits, and the little bits of silver on the grill, as well as the textures on the upper chest area there. And his breather's got the buttons painted in silver and red and blue, so that's pretty cool. He's got, I'll go ahead and take the cape off. A little bit of detail on the soft parts of the armor and the arm, which always helps, because these figures, as I've explained before, do not have the utmost amounts of articulation. This is a nostalgia set for me, because these were toys that were out when I was a kid, and I never really collected them, even though I was a big Star Wars fan. But you got the silver detailing on his belt there. It kind of goes around the side a little bit. Nothing on the back to be understood. Not that surprising, given that he's got that hard plastic cape, and most of the stuff on the back is going to be covered up anyway. But you got that checkered pattern for the for the softer bits of the armor. So, I mean, even for a 90s action figure, he's got good detail. All the detail there on the boots, and even on the gloves. It's not like a shiny plastic, but it's slightly different. Detailed on the gloves. Points of articulation. His head will do a 360. Will it do it with the cape? Hold on. Sorry, I'll get him back in the center here in a second. Okay. Will it do the full? Yeah, even with the hard plastic cape, it'll do that. But articulation, if you leave the cape on, since he's kind of encased in it, you can only go about that high up, and about that far down, unfortunately. Just the nature of it. Now, this side doesn't have as, and you can kind of go all the way around, but he starts popping out of the cape. So, as we guess you can kind of see, back in the day, it was always sort of random if you got soft goods or hard goods. Now, granted, this has all these nice waves in it and all this nice detailing, but it being a hard plastic, as we talked about, drastically limits his range of movement. Some of the Batman figures from back in the day, I think, had a hard plastic ring, so you could put it around his neck, but then the cape itself would be soft goods. As you know, nowadays, a lot of them have like a soft rubber, so like you can still have the cape but can move the arms. But we'll go ahead and pop that back off. And like you can see, it's not that hard to take off or put on. And he's got his lightsaber. So can you put it in both hands? Look at me flipping and dropping him all over the place. Alright. Yep. In that hand, which I'd argue that's probably a better one because he's kind of at a on guard pose there, and you can fight with him. The legs about 45 degrees forward, and I mean you get a little bit of play backwards. But yeah, guys, I really like this line in that it's nostalgic to me. But if you're looking into like super points of articulation and whatnot, the Power of the Force 2 set, because of its age, just doesn't have it. So this is more of a nostalgia collecting thing. Now, these are pretty cheap. You buy them in lots, you can get them like $10 a figure, which is pretty nice. I think I paid $15 for this guy because there's only 2 at a shop. But they're affordable collection for us 90s kids. They're very nostalgic. If you're wanting more posability, I would say, but in this scale, I might say go with the Star Wars Vintage Collection, because I think it's in this sort of 3 3/4 scale. Maybe this is 4-inch, but something close to this scale and has lots of points for articulation. But for those of us in the 90s, these kind of hold a special spot because they filled the shelves at stores and were there for a long, long time. And it was just kind of, I guess, yeah, it was not kind of part of our childhood, because I think these started coming out maybe when the remastered movies were coming out. Because I know it was before the prequels, because the prequels had their own sort of shorter run of figures that were similar to this. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think about this series. Is this something that you remember from your childhood? Does it hold a nostalgic place? Or does it just seem like a overly simplified figure from the past? Anyway, guys, have a nice week. Stay positive, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.